Hey, Cub fans. Welcome to Randy Talks Cubs. Thanks for joining us. Cubs won tonight in 10 innings, 4-3. Walk-off fashion. Sing the song. And really entertaining game. Some surprises, a lot of good news. We'll go through all of that. So before we do that, I want to get everybody up to date on some of the roster moves, some of the things that happened in the off day. So let's just go ahead and touch those real quick before we get into the game details. Per Craig Counsell, Kyle Hendricks is going to be moved to the bullpen. So that's not real surprising. And I guess the idea would be they're going to give that a chance. And I guess the thing that we can point to is, from a statistical perspective, as bad as Kyle has been in his starts so far this year, most of the damage has come after he's gone the first time through. So I guess potentially we can be maybe relatively optimistic that he might do well in a 1 or 2 inning relief role. And if he can, that would be useful. So that's kind of where we are with Kyle Hendricks. Miles Mastrobuoni and Pete Crow Armstrong have been optioned to Iowa. Mastrobuoni, it was pretty obvious that move had to be made. Nico and Dansby, Dansby was activated off the injured list and Nico was ready to go. So, but with PCA, it was just a matter of the fifth outfielder. He needs to, at his age and his projections, he needs to get some at-bats. I'm going to miss having him, A, in center field, but B, he was the only thing we had coming off the bench that would steal a base. And but I guess we can't just sit him and use him in that role at this point. He needs to get some at-bats. In fact, he hit a home run tonight in his second at-bat. I think it was a 421-foot shot in his second at-bat back in Iowa. So Luis Vasquez was called up. He was in the dugout tonight, hasn't played. If you're unfamiliar with Luis Vasquez, go ahead and check in the playlist. I did a profile on him probably, 3 months ago. But it's interesting. He's an interesting story. So if you're unfamiliar with Luis, go ahead and check that video out, and that'll get you up to date. He's going to play at some point. Some of the questions that we have going in, we still have Brennan Davis down in Iowa, who is red hot. So just keep him in the back of your mind. With Madrigal and Luis Vasquez both on the bench, they're very similar players. It seems pretty redundant to me, so that's interesting. We know coming into the game today, we've got Ian Happ, who's really been scuffling. He came into tonight just hitting 208. Dansby actually came in tonight with hitting 209. And I don't know if you guys were aware of this, but Seiya Suzuki's in a funk. Seiya went 0 for 5 tonight, and he came into the game hitting under 200, I think 195 since his return from the injured list. So sort of under the radar, Seiya has been struggling a little bit. And we know about our two catchers too, Miguel Amaya and Yan Gomes. I combined their numbers, found out it's kind of interesting. They're both hitting right around 180. As a combo, they are 29 for 160. That's a 181 average. Each has 2 home runs, so they basically are doing about the same thing. So I just think after this off day and these roster changes, some of the things we need to be looking for is Ian Happ needs to get going, getting some production from the catchers. Seiya Suzuki, a little bit off right now, and getting Michael Busch running. So we still have some guys who are scuffling a little bit offensively that we need to pay attention to. But let me give you the lineup. It was actually nice when I saw the lineup today. It looked like the lineup that we were talking about with everybody healthy in spring training. So Mike Tauchman, DH, leading off. Seiya was in right field, hitting second. Belli in center field, hitting third. Christopher Morel, third base. Ian Happ in left field, hitting fifth. Nico at second base, hitting sixth. Michael Busch at first in the seventh hole. Giving Dansby a little bit of a lighter load coming back from the injured list. He's at hitting in the eighth hole. And Miguel Amaya catching hitting ninth. So here's our totals. We got 4 runs, 7 hits, 6 walks, 10 strikeouts. Had some action and left them on base. We left 11 runners on base tonight. We were 4 for 14 with runners in scoring position. We got down 2-0 in the second. Got 2 in the bottom to tie it. We got another run in the 6th, and then we got the final run in the 10th. So let's talk a little bit about the scoring. In the second inning when we got 2, Bush got hit by a pitch. Dansby singled. Amaya walked. Tauchman singled and scored. He scored Bush on that play. Had the bases loaded. We would have gotten 2 runs, but Tauchman's single was hit so hard, 110.3 miles per hour, that Dansby didn't have a chance. So Tauch knocks in Bush for the first run of the game for the Cubs in the second. Seiya strikes out. With Bellinger up, Dansby scores the second run on a pass ball. So that's how we got the 2 runs in the second. The 1 run in the 6th, Bush reaches on an E5. It was really windy today at Wrigley, like 18-mile-an-hour wind, like 30-plus-mile-an-hour gusts, and it was blowing out. So it was really kind of an interesting game that it was only 4-3 because the wind was howling out to left field. So Bush hits a pop-up, and the third baseman short for the Braves mishandles it. So Bush reaches, and he was hustling, so he's on second base. Amaya singles. We got first and third, and Tauch singles, scoring Bush to get in the 6th. Then in the 10th inning, Bellinger made the last out in the ninth, so he's on second base. They had a lefty on the mound, so they go ahead and they walk Morel intentionally. So first and second. Hap goes 6-4 ground out, and Belli goes to third on the play. And then so we got first and third, 1 out. Nico with 2 strikes hits a high chopper pretty much off the plate, and it was in the air long enough that Belli scored for the walk-off. So it was nice that Nico was able to do that in his first game back. Nico had a little bit of a rough go. So let's go ahead and run down the numbers for everybody. Tauch had a good night. He went 2 for 5 with a couple of RBIs, and hit the ball hard tonight. And he got robbed in the 4th. He hit a line drive that Harris in center field chased down, running away. Great catch, just shy of the wall. So Tauch looked really good tonight. Seiya went 0 for 5. Remember, he came into the game hitting about .195, so he goes 0 for 5 tonight. 2 strikeouts, ground outs, and a fly out. Belli went 0 for 4 with a walk, scored that the winning run. Morel went 0 for 2, but he walked 3 times tonight. Hap went 1 for 5. So Ian Happ, if he's like 2 for 18 since coming back from the injured list, and hit the ball hard in the 7th inning, lined out to the first baseman hard, had the double in the 5th. So he looked better tonight. And so that looks he had better at bats tonight. His 1 for 5 doesn't quite show up what I think he looked like tonight. Nico had a rough one. Nico struck out 3 times in his first 4 at bats, and in the 3rd inning he tapped out to the pitcher. So Nico's first 4 at bats were really rough going. So it was nice that he got that opportunity in the 10th, and he made it pay off. Bush ends up going 0 for 2, but he reached base twice. Once on that error on the third baseman. He got hit by a pitch in the 2nd inning. So he had an interesting line. Bush goes 0 for 2, but he scored 2 runs. Dansby hit the ball really well tonight. It was nice to see. Dansby comes in, hitting 209. He's in the 8th hole. We certainly need him. And he singled in the 1st and doubled in the 4th. So he's 2 for 4. So that looked good. And Amaya had a good night. Amaya goes 1 for 2. He walked twice. So, getting a little bit of offensive production from that bottom group really paid off. Because outside of Tauch, that was pretty much all we got from the meat of the lineup. So, offensively, it looks like there's some potential. We still got still got some players who need to kind of turn it around. Seiya looked really bad tonight. Seiya had a couple at bats where he literally looked lost. So I don't know what's going on there, but we got some guys that need to step up, and with Nico and Dancy back in the lineup, it sure felt good. Let's go ahead and talk about the pitchers. We had some pitchers that I'm going to start in reverse. Tyson Miller, Mark Leiter Jr., Hayden Wesneski, Hector, and Luke Little pitched awesome tonight. So I'll get to Javier Assad, but let's talk about Tyson Miller comes in, fifth inning, in relief of Javier. 2 outs and a runner on first and third. And we're down 3-2 here. So it's a big outing here for Tyson Miller. Runners on, he strikes out Arcia, just nasty. Then he comes back in the sixth and he goes 1-2-3, strikes out short looking, gets Kelnick to fly out to Seiya and gets Acuna to ground out meekly to Nico. So Tyson Miller gets the first 4 hitters that he faced. Then in the seventh inning, it gets rough. He hits Albies. Slide piece got away and it just ran in on Albies. And then Ozuna singles. So we got first and second. And they pull Tyson Miller. So Mark Leiter Jr. comes in, and he's in the thick of it here. He's got no outs, runners on first and second. Got to tie a game 3-3. So all Mark Jr. does is he comes in and goes curve, cutter, fork, and strikes out Olsen swinging, Darno swinging, and Harris swinging. It was the light show. Mark Leiter Jr. came in, and it got nasty. Phenomenal effort by Mark Jr. Wesneski pitches the eighth inning. He goes 1-2-3. He gets Arcia to pop out to Amaya meekly, popped it straight up. He strikes out Duvall swinging and gets Kelnick to fly out to Happer. So Wesneski a 1-2-3 eighth. And remember, this is high leverage. It's 3-3. Then in the ninth inning, Hector comes in. You know what's happened to Hector is heart attack Hector or Scaris Naris has kind of gone away. He really dodged so many bullets the first part of this year, as we know, and it looks like he might be over that. His last couple of outings have been pretty clean. He had another clean one in the ninth. Gets Acuna to fly out to Seiya. Seiya made a really nice diving catch. It was a flare, and Seiya came in full speed, ends up sliding, catching it pretty much off the top of the grass. Great catch. And ninth inning, 3-3. If he doesn't make that play, first of all, Acuna's on first, which means he probably steals second. So Seiya saved that ninth inning, I think, for us. If Acuna reaches on that at bat, that was probably going to be trouble. Hector gets Albies to ground out to Nico and gets Ozuna to ground out to Morel. Then in the ninth inning, Luke Little came in, and he had Olsen, Darno, and Harris, and he gets Olsen to ground out on a comebacker. Darno goes 6-5 fielder's choice, and Harris goes 3 unassisted to end it. So, that pin came out tonight and got it done, and we needed the pin tonight because Javier Assad didn't have his best outing. Let me give you his total line. Javier came in tonight with 9 starts, 48 in the third inning, 1.49 ERA. 42 Ks, 15 walks, whip at 1.034. So in 9 starts, his ERA, I think, third best in the league, somewhere in there. So his line tonight looks a little rough, but it was kind of a rough night for Javier. He goes 4 2/3, gives up 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 of them are earned, walked 5, struck out 4, gave up 2 home runs. So it was a little bit of a rough outing. He in the first inning, he has a walk, strikeout, takes him 20 pitches to get out of it. So just kind of labored a little bit. Then in the second inning, he gives up the 2 runs, gives up a home run. He has an error. He walked a guy, gave up a double. The error that he had on d'Arnaud, and I wanted to talk about this because it kind of caused this trouble a little bit. d'Arnaud led off that inning, grounder to the right of Bush. Bush goes backhands it, and Javier is coming over to cover first. And Bush made what you would say is a good throw, and Javier missed it, and they gave Javier the error. d'Arnaud reaches, and then Arcia, 2 batters later, hits a 2-run homer. And they gave the error to Javier, which I guess if you watch the play, that's what you would see. But that's not what I saw. I saw Bush throw a ball that was going to be hard for Javier to handle. First of all, d'Arnaud was running. Bush caught the ball cleanly, and he had plenty of time. So I thought he threw the ball with too much pace. So he threw it too hard. He handcuffed Javier. Not only was it had too much pace on it, he threw it a little bit behind him. So Javier's trying to find the bag. Meantime, he's got to look behind him a little bit, and the ball just kind of got on him and handcuffed him. And nobody talked about the fact that Bush has got to give him a ball he can handle. He had time. You've got to make a good pass to where the guy, if you got a big that's filling the lane, you got to give him a pass he can handle. And I don't think Bush gave Javier a pass that he could handle. So there's another example in my mind of Bush's lack of experience that shows up at first base quite a bit in the subtleties. And if you guys see that replay, I think you'll see what I'm talking about. He had time. He could have led him a little more, taken a little pace off of it to give Javier a little more margin, but he didn't. He whipped it and threw it behind him and handcuffed Javier. So that play to me, had we gotten d'Arnaud out, would have changed that inning. Javier goes 1-2-3 in the third, 13 pitches. So he had a good inning in the third. Then in the fourth, another home run, gives up a home run to Harris. Arcia doubles a ball that Seiya could have caught, probably. It was hit pretty hard, but I don't think Seiya got a good read on it. I think if Arcia hits it again the same way, I think Seiya catches it. So Javier, he walked 5. He was he didn't command it. I think because the wind was howling out to left, he was pitching away from contact more than he probably normally would. And I'm not saying he shouldn't have probably done that, because anything up in the air was going to carry out. So I think because of that, he was probably a little bit too cautious and was just pitching away from contact, walked some guys and got in a little bit of trouble. He ends up throwing 102 pitches and getting out of it. So, and what's interesting to me is when he left, and they pulled him, and he was really battling. And I'm like, we're still in it. Javier, I'm sure if you ask him, he had a bad outing, but we're in the game when he left. He still kept us in it. And our starters have been so good for a stretch now. I think we need to understand that they're not going to just dominate every time. And this was an example of Javier probably an outing that maybe he was due to have, where he just wasn't as dominant. So to me, it was nice that Javier wasn't the dominant Javier, but he still battled, and he got us to a position where we're in the game. And then we just took it from there. So Javier's probably disappointed in his outing tonight, but I'm not. I think he did. I think he did fine. He's not gonna carry a .8 ERA long term. He's gonna have some issues, and I think tonight was that. So I'm okay with it. So it's a great start. We won tonight without our best. Seiya didn't give us much. Belli didn't give us much. Javier wasn't his best, but we beat the Braves. We beat the Braves 4-3 and 10. We got the jump on them in the series, so we're right there. It's a lot better. The guys seem to have more confidence tonight. The defense is back. It changed immediately. We looked really good in the infield tonight. So, watching Dansby and Nico roam the middle of the diamond after they've been gone for a while, it really felt good to have them back. So that's where we are. We got Justin Steele going tomorrow night, and that's going to be a very interesting outing for Justin Steele. He's come off a couple of rough ones, and I'm interested to see how he bounces back. So that's where we are. 27-22. We're right where we want to be. Everybody is getting healthy. Drew Smiley, I think he threw 3 innings in Iowa today. Jordan Wicks is throwing as well, so he's getting close. Merriweather possibly on his way back. So the future at this point is looking pretty good. If we get some guys that are having a little bit of tough go to figure it out here, but it looks like we're on the right track. So, all right, guys, thanks for joining me here on the RTC. Really appreciate you checking us out. We'll see you tomorrow night. Go Cubs, go.